Hey, what's up guys, Jed here. Intermittent fasting for nurses, CNAs, doctors, or whatever you are in the medical field. How could you possibly do intermittent fasting if you're all of the above? Good question. Let's talk about it. But before we get into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you stay up to date whenever I post a new video. I know guys, the struggle is real, but don't worry, because that's what I'm here for. So I went around asking some of my friends and family who are nurses two main questions so that I could gather up some data, a survey, if you will. The first question was, I wanted to know what their entire day looked like diet-wise. I specifically wanted to know what they ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and if they were even able to eat because of how busy they were. There were a lot of answers, so I'm just going to try to summarize it. One group said they ate a quick small meal, which was mainly a fruit, cereal, or some kind of nutrition bar, while the others just skipped. And for lunch and dinner, everyone pretty much said they looked forward to it and almost always had time to fit it in, with their meals being something random each day. A majority said they would get fast food, mainly because it was just one of those things that you really don't have to think about, and because obviously it's fast. I also want to mention that almost all of the people that I asked told me that their lunch was at 12 p.m. and their dinner was unpredictable. The second question I asked was what they would rather do between eating whatever they wanted or eating the same thing every day. Little to no surprise, they would rather eat whatever they wanted, which of course isn't a bad thing. In conclusion, about 80% ate whatever they wanted and always ended up eating too little or way too much because of the long periods without having a proper meal, resulting in them being very hungry, while the other 20% ate the same thing and was able to steadily and successfully do intermittent fasting and lose weight. So going back to our question, how can nurses do intermittent fasting? Well, if we take a look at what their schedule typically looks like, most nurses won't be able to eat until about 12, pushing up towards the evening. I even looked it up on Google to get a better idea of a nurse's break times, and it said that nurses are allowed up to 3 15-minute breaks as well as 1 uninterrupted meal period. So if you are a nurse wanting to try out intermittent fasting, I think it would be best if you set your eating window sometime around the afternoon. Because when you compare having a meal first thing in the morning rather than the afternoon, I think we can all agree that it's much easier to skip breakfast than it is lunch. With that said, you can definitely still follow a schedule of 16-8 and lose weight, but since nurses generally have higher shifts, following an even higher fasting schedule such as 18-6 would be much better and more convenient. Now there are two ways you can approach this, and I also feel that these two sort of go hand in hand, so I like to think that it would be highly unlikely for any of you to fail when doing this. The first way is to eat the same thing every day. The reason this works is simply because once you plan out everything that you are going to eat throughout the week, that's it. You don't have to think about it ever again. Another reason this works is because you will know exactly how many calories you are consuming each day, and when you are aware of that, then weight loss becomes a breeze. And yes, counting calories is a requirement when doing intermittent fasting. So for example, let's say I ate oatmeal for breakfast. If you choose to make it yourself, be sure to measure it using grams, using a food scale, and input the amount of calories that you just consumed on a piece of paper, or in an app, or just somewhere that you can remember. Or if you chose the ready-made oatmeal packets instead, then simply look up the amount of calories it has on the internet, or scan the barcode using an app like MyFitnessPal to know the amount of calories as well. Moving on to lunch. Let's say I want chicken breast with some broccoli and rice on the side. Measure the chicken breast using a food scale again, as well as your broccoli and rice, and do the same exact thing with dinner. You have to measure everything, guys. The easiest way to do all this is to buy everything in bulk and to prepare your meals well ahead of time. And it doesn't even take that long, maybe an hour out of your day at max, and you're set for the whole week. So if you did everything correctly, then it's just a matter of going to work and whipping out the food that you prepared to eat when, of course, it's time to eat. Now let's talk about the other approach that I mentioned earlier, which is the freedom to eat whatever you want. I'm fully aware that there are people who aren't exactly a big fan of counting calories, calories, which is why I will talk about this approach as well. So the easiest way to do intermittent fasting without having to count calories is to make better and healthier dietary choices. This should be a given since, assuming you are a nurse, this is something that you should already know by now. So let me just give a couple of examples. If you wanted to eat chicken, what do you think's healthier? Cooking it yourself or buying it from a fast food place? Obviously, cooking it yourself is the better decision. What's healthier, having a piece of chocolate or having the entire bar of chocolate? Again, having just a piece is better. Let's do one more. What's healthier, plain rice or fried rice? The winner is, of course, plain rice. Keep in mind, we aren't counting calories with these examples. So now let's put everything together. You had some chicken, which you made yourself, with plain rice, and of course, a small piece of chocolate for dessert. Alright, so we didn't track anything and we didn't count calories, so now I want you to guess how many calories you got in total. And while you do that, I'm going to use Google to help me figure this all out. Got your guess ready? We have a grand total of approximately 500 calories from this one meal, and we didn't count calories at all. Wasn't that easy? Lastly, let's figure out the grand total of calories if you made the bad choices instead. Let's say I ordered a spicy deluxe crispy chicken from McDonald's with a milkshake on the side and one entire Hershey bar. We would have a grand total of approximately 1,200 calories. Now, I don't know about you, but I would much rather have 500 calories instead of 1,200 calories any day. So the only reason I do this is because I want to help you fully understand how not counting calories still helps you lose weight, but it's much more difficult to do compared to if you were to just count calories. One more thing, if you ever accidentally broke your fast when you weren't supposed to, because you maybe forgot or couldn't handle the fast being so long, then you can easily fix it with your next meal by simply eating healthy. So, my fellow nurses and possibly med students, how can you do intermittent fasting? First, pick a schedule that works best for you, such as 16-8, but preferably something higher, especially if you are a nurse with a longer shift. And if you can, skip breakfast and push your meal further towards the afternoon. And depending on what you prefer, either eat the same thing every day, buy in bulk and prepare your meals ahead of time, or eat healthier without having to count calories. That's all I gotta say about that. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you are interested in learning more about weight loss and intermittent fasting, be sure to check out my last video where I talk about whether or not you can have coffee when intermittent fasting and if it breaks a fast. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and tap that notification bell so that you never miss out on any future videos. Also, don't forget to leave a like and comment down below letting me know if you guys found value in this video. And with that said, stay healthy, and I will see you guys next time.